And right now, our first big story tonight, former House Speaker Gorden Fox is scheduled to report to prison tomorrow. The Providence Democrat was sentenced to 36 months behind bars last month after pleading guilty to several charges, including bribery, wire fraud, and filing a false tax return. He was also ordered to pay $109,000 in restitution. Fox has until 2 p.m. to surrender. New at 6:30, WPRI.com reporter Dan McGowan joining me in studio for an in-depth look at his sentence. What do we know about where Gorden Fox will be serving his prison time?
It's interesting. We literally just found out before we started talking that he'll be in Waymart, Pennsylvania. The Providence Journal reported that. We don't know exactly where, but we know it's Waymart, Pennsylvania. We also know, he's going to serve 3 years. We know that with federal prison there is no, parole, so he'll be serving 3 years. There could be some flexibility for some, supervised, like home type of stay, but generally speaking, he'll be serving 3 years in prison.
Now, have we heard from Gorden Fox since the day he was sentenced? Has he spoken publicly?
No, he hasn't, and he's really, tried to do a pretty good job of dodging the media ever since really the whole scandal kind of broke down, a year and a half ago, with the exception of a couple of times maybe outside of his house.
I know you spoke to him in a very long conversation that day.
That's
actually.
Right. Yeah, outside of his house, the day that he the plea deal was announced, and then of course he talked to reporters just after the sentencing, but we really don't know a lot about what's going through his head. Imagine he's very much preparing for 3 years in prison.
Now, of course, all of this leaves a pretty dark cloud over the General Assembly. Sure. Are they talking about putting anything in place to prevent things like this from happening in the future?
Sure. So they did they made some campaign finance reporting changes, just a little more transparency, and that was certainly directly related to Gordon's situation with his campaign finances. One larger thing that they're looking at, and in fact House Speaker Nicholas Mattiello has said, maybe we should look at a full-time legislature. And the idea is that, these guys only make $15,000 a year at this point. Maybe if you put them in a larger salary, $60,000, $70,000, they will be kind of deterred from doing sort of the side work that got Gorden Fox in trouble. We don't know if that's going to happen, and it would take, voter approval. So
it would be a very interesting and significant change, though.
It would certainly be, and you imagine there'd be a lot of opposition to it from taxpayer advocates. So.
Yeah, WPRI.com reporter Dan McGowan, thank you. And you can find more in-depth coverage on the Gorden Fox corruption scandal right now on our website, WPRI.com. We've compiled all our reports from the start of the investigation to Fox's sentencing. It's under the News tab.